drinking beer.
And Red Bull. Yeah. Oh. So much for that.
Thank you guys for hanging out with us for Different Soundcheck. I'm Derek. This is Rochelle Raya and Amy Langley.
Yes.
Hey, Derek.
Hi, Derek.
How are we doing today?
Nice to be here.
Yeah.
So glad we made it.
Absolutely. Thanks for being a part of this is the first podcast for Tucson local bands.
Cool.
So I'm excited that you guys
You're pioneers.
You guys were actually the only ones that said yes. So I'm glad someone said yes. And I got two.
Say it again, Derek.
Yes.
Say it again.
My favorite yeses so far. Yes. Just getting right into it. What do you guys do? Amy?
Me first?
Yeah, you first.
Well, I do many things.
Okay.
We're here talking about music, correct? Yeah. So, currently, music-wise, I, along with Rochelle, are in a band called Cochise County All Stars.
Wow.
And I am the singer. I play percussion. I play the kazoo. Yes, I do. And I also tell jokes. Cool. That's what I do. And I drive a lot because I live far. So, I'm just going to say that's what I do.
Love it.
Rochelle, tell them about yourself.
Well, where do I start? Let's see. Music. I'm joined the Cochise County All Stars about 3 years ago. I play harmonica, percussion, and vocals. I'm basically based out of Phoenix, and COVID brought me to Tucson.
Okay.
And that was the best move I've ever made. So meeting Cochise County All Stars and having the chance to be able to play with such quality musicians was really a great opportunity.
Yeah, you guys have, coming from a 7-piece band, sometimes a 7-piece band, I can relate, what is band practice like?
Well, it's interesting. You should bring that up.
We do practice.
We do rehearse about once a week. And we try and keep it a democratic atmosphere to choose the songs, because we do cover material, but we are really selective about the songs we choose. And we have a certain sound, I think, because of each individual.
Yeah.
So, and so one time I said cover band to Gene, our guitar player, one of 3. Hi there. And he said, we are not a cover band. And I'm like, okay, so we never promote ourselves as a cover.
Got it.
We do some original material. We're starting to do some of Rochelle's material. Louis has written some great instrumentals, which we incorporate. And then I would say most of our stuff is nothing really current. Do we do anything really current?
Not really, no.
We do some classics,
You guys do some Chris Stapleton.
So
That's
And I saw you guys this last weekend, and it was absolutely incredible.
you mean our country show?
Absolutely incredible.
we have another country show coming.
I think it's something everyone needs to see, for sure. I mean, and given the circumstance of being 90 degrees in, February, March.
And there was a nice shady balcony right across the way.
And that wasn't the one year on. It was incredible. Absolutely.
Well, thanks. I'm glad you.
Yeah, it sounded good down there.
Oh, beautiful. It absolutely sounded beautiful.
The sound guys were great.
And that's another art to the music scene that I think I'll sit down and think about is, if the band isn't sounding great, sometimes it's not the band, it could be the sound.
Oh yeah,
that really matters.
Sound is so.
We've recently just hired a sound guy to follow us to every show that we do.
Lucky you.
Yeah, they're all
sounded good when we were there. We missed the surprise of the horn.
That's okay.
Yeah.
Well, we we are open arms about being a cover band, but Gift Horse is a band that throws just a twist in everything that we do.
Makes you own.
Yeah. And you guys, it's always you guys are in a band with such powerhouse musicians. I want you guys to know you guys are powerhouse musicians.
Thank you.
But I think you guys already know this. I have a big man crush on Frank.
Yes.
Because
Frank's a monster.
He is incredible.
After that gig, he drove down to Patagonia.
No.
Their gig.
Yeah.
He's incredible.
He's a true rock star, man.
He really is. And he's a nice
He's been gas to work with.
I would believe that. And that kind of goes back into the 7-piece thing is some people, when I say I'm in a 7-piece band, like, how do you make that work?
Like, do you all get along?
Right. And sometimes there are moments where it's like, yeah, fuck, just do it my way and just shut up.
Yes.
But at the end of it, it's like you look at the people you're with and you appreciate their brain because that's how you have that unique sound.
Right.
Is because there's 7 brains working with you.
I think that's the beauty of Cochise County All Stars is we all allow each other to be creative and to kind of do our own thing and to make it all mesh. And it just kind of works, you know.
Yeah.
Plus, we all like each other too.
Yeah, and you know, one thing I remember the first time Rochelle sat in with us, and she was the first time I've ever played with a harmonica player.
Yeah.
And I always associate harmonica with blues and that type of music. And I was down in Patagonia, and you sat in with us, and we were doing Harvest Moon. No, it was Wayfaring Stranger. And I thought, wow, she can make it sound good in this song? What else can she do? Because I never heard a harmonic. I never even thought to think of a harmonic in there. And at that point, I knew, I'm like, yeah, it's
I learned that I really like Rochelle's harmonica playing. Can I ask a question?
Yes.
For this, can I call it a harp? Can I call it a mouth harp? What is the appropriate
Yeah, I asked that too.
wording? What can I say without being offensive?
My butt is blowing.
That could be
The bathings are really
Well, I'm sorry for the interruption, but I just anyway. Well, I call it several things like harmonica, harp, mouth organ.
Yeah,
That's one of my favorites.
that is mine too. And I stay
so obscene.
I stay with another connotation.
Yeah.
And it's not appropriate. So, okay, harmonica. We'll go with harmonica. Yeah, it is. The first time I saw you was on Tucson local bands. You weren't with Cochise County. You were with another band, correct? If I'm not
The Ten in Patagonia.
the Sashas.
Oh, the Sashas. That goes way back.
Distance. Yes.
Oh,
That's when I first saw you.
that's before I met you guys.
The Sashas. Is that paper?
It's our other band.
No.
Sorry, I mean, hate to break it to you.
Yeah. You got really jealous. Really jealous.
when I
No, I wanted it was Sabre in them.
No. It was basically when I moved here from Phoenix.
Yeah.
I was just jonesing to play music, and it was during COVID.
Yeah.
So everything was shut down pretty much. Thank goodness. I mean, I knew
Good for
Heather.
you guys.
I knew Heather Hardy,
Yeah.
and I went to one of the first gigs that opened up was her playing at the Congress.
Yep.
So I went to that gig because I was like, oh my God, Heather, you know, and I'm living here now, and she was very gracious to open the door for me to play with her at the Chicago bar and to do a couple of private gigs at her house. Yeah. She really opened the door for me to feel like I belonged here and say, oh, that to Heather Hardy.
Very gracious.
Yeah.
And she is also a beautiful musician.
Yeah.
I think if I had to pick, there's several artists that run in my brain, but Heather Hardy on my deathbed, I would love for her to be playing in the background because it's just moving. We're listening.
She's a phenomenal person, you know, inside and out. And so, you know, then through that, I ran into an old friend of mine in Phoenix that was doing music. I was doing music, more folk acoustic music. Melanie Morrison, she's a local artist here. Then she had moved to Patagonia. Her and her wife were starting a hip campground down in Patagonia.
Nice.
And so then she called me up, and we ran into each other at Club Congress. And basically, she says, I'm living down in Patagonia. I'm starting this band. Hey, how would you like to play? And I just was hungry to play with anybody. Yeah. And so
Was that the
the Sasha.
Oh, okay. Say you were the star, but I got of that video.
Rochelle?
I was just on.
It is a vibe. It is a feeling. It is fun to watch you, and
She brings her own jam club.
I sign me up. I will be on there.
I just love what I do, and I'm just very happy to be playing with Cochise County All Stars.
Yeah.
And so through the Sashas, we'll go back. Now we transformed into we morphed into a new band called the Tanningers.
Got it.
So once a month, I go down to Patagonia, and I play with the Tanningers, and that's how I met Kendra and Erica, and this kind of all morphed together, and through that I met you, and here we are.
Now we know you. And you're in the living room and finally got you.
Right. Not many ladies get to make it this far. I'll tell you that right now.
That's under there. Wow.
Yeah, not many ladies get this far to the 11. Well, so tell me about your experiences in Tucson. So
My experience in Tucson. Well, let me tell you, the reason I started music was because I was born with a congenital hip dysplasia because I couldn't take ballet like my two sisters. So my mother steered me towards the piano. Okay. And I really believe that was my fate, you know, because I took piano forever as a little kid, listened to Joni Mitchell, the Grateful Dead growing up in New York. and then came out here to the University of Arizona to go to music school. Wanted to be a rock and roll star. They were a very classical program. So I lasted 5 years, never graduated, moved on to Los Angeles, and then had some bands there, went to Germany, worked in music there, and then lived in Montana and did no music for 10 years because there was not much opportunity.
Really?
Really. And then came back down here because there was no work there either. And I got a job cooking on a ranch in the Chiricahua Mountains. And Kevin Kukulis was our cowboy singer. And I would be like, I was working 14-hour days, but I was never too tired to go out to that campfire on the weekends and sing, cowboy songs. I love cowboy songs. So we'd sit there and people would come up to me at breakfast the next morning and be like, I was served buffet. We had a great time. And they'd be like, why aren't you cooking? You're like, why aren't you singing? And I'm like, because I'm cooking. And so, but Kevin, every time he would come out on weekends, he'd like, are you going to come out and sing with me? And I'd be like, yeah. So then he said, he's based in Tucson. And he said, whenever you're in Tucson, come sing. And I ended up working with him for a few years. And that's how I met Louis.
Yep.
And then I wasn't working with Kevin anymore, and Louis, I think Sabra Falk, who's also an incredible Tucson musician, great singer, she had been the bass player in the Cochise County All Stars, and she was out, and Louis said, can you fill in on a gig? And I said, sure, and I went to a rehearsal, and I sang Cry Me a River, and they were like, can you stay?
It makes
so I said, sense. Yeah, sure, next gig, and here I am 12 years later.
What I said about Rochelle of being just an embodiment of entertainment, you are an embodiment of a singer. Your personality, it just makes a lot of sense, and it works.
I find myself on stage a lot of times just totally being in awe, standing next to her and watching her sing. And I forget I'm there. I'm like, oh, yeah, I get so involved.
Yeah. It's absolutely great. And it works perfectly in the setting that you guys have going.
It works.
It's something that people need to see.
And I think one talent I have is making other people sound better. Okay. Yeah. I mean, I think for people who have, and I mean this in the best ways, because I love to bring people up. Like there are times when people have pitch problems.
Sure.
I mean, I like to sing. I love harmonies. It's like I pride myself. I would think I've told you this on singing a harmony to the iconic solo of "Comfortably Numb." Right?
Yeah.
Don't ask me to do that now, but I will someday.
Okay. Test my luck.
It's the middle solo, not the end. Well, it's also the end part.
There's anywhere you can find it. It's such a great songs.
I saw a good thing on the comments on YouTube once when I was listening to it over and over. And one of the guys said, this is my neighbor's favorite song, whether he likes it or not.
Yeah.
Because it's like,
anytime you hear Pink Floyd, that's...
But anyway, so harmony, it's like, it helps people to stay in tune. And the one thing I like the best about being a singer is telling a story. I love to express that through song.
Sure.
And I had a woman once tell me, she's complimented me on that, and it really meant a lot because it meant I was doing what I wanted to do. It's just, you have to have emotion. You have to know what the song's about. You have to tell a story.
Right.
Even if it's like jambalaya crawfish pie, it's like, yeah, let's eat some jambalaya.
Right. It's the point of music, isn't it? It's emotion to have a conversation in a different way, and it's a language that is unique and it touches people. And I think universal. Absolutely.
Lucky you gotta lead.
Know the language. Just their message gets across in a different way. And I'm glad that you guys do it. I'm glad you guys are here. And so a great follow-up to what you guys are saying, both of you, is what do you think Tucson, why is Tucson special? What would make Tucson the point why you came back here and why at the point that you wanted to stay here? Because you guys both have experience in other places.
I was thinking today, Tucson, I've been here longer than any other place I've lived.
Right.
Wow, 25 years. And I came back, it became home. When I came out here to go to university and then left, I was very nomadic. And then, you're always looking for work, right? Not necessarily music. And there were no jobs in Montana. And after 9/11, my husband, who passed away, he was in film and production, and that worked right up for German television. So it was like really struggle. So I figured I knew Tucson, I was familiar with it. And over the years, you know, when I think about now, where would I go? This is like my family here. I mean, music is my main thing. You know,
Music here, because I've only been, I'm 32 years young. I want to ask you guys how old you are.
Thank you.
Yes. But
I'm a baby of the band, just so you know.
me as well. Me as well. It's like being the youngest sibling.
You're the loudest voice.
I'm not the oldest.
That's bad.
No, you're not the oldest. You know that.
There's a reason why, because I don't have much experience outside of the Tucson the music realm. I've done this for quite some time, and I know it fairly well.
Are you some Tucson?
I was born in Massachusetts. I was born in Boston.
East Coast, just we are louder than most people.
You know, I don't like it that much because you're a New Yorker, but it's okay.
But did you know people from the East Coast are inherently louder?
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
I know that for sure. Yeah, I know that. There's something special here, is what I get told all the time, because I don't have much experience outside of it, but I know what I know here, and I just do it, right? But there is a special thing.
Yeah, and the desert too, because I used to hate them. I mean, I hate the summers here. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I just do.
Yeah.
But the desert, you know, coming from back east and living in Germany and in Montana, where it's just like green and lush. And my husband, when we drove down here from Montana, he said, "It looks like Montana after it's been nuked."
Yeah.
And I was like, "Yeah,
It's a great
you're right."
description.
But over the years, and I live in the desert now, and I've lived in the desert a lot, and I've come to really see the magic and beauty of it. It's just
There's something
special. It's
I think it's about the magic.
Yeah.
There's it's like a vortex
Yeah.
of creativity. Special people here. I love the fact, coming from Phoenix, born in Los Angeles, and coming to Tucson, it's just quaint. I run into people all the time that, oh, hey, you know, I know you've
big city, small town.
music scene, or and it's just very special. I find it. I don't. I just can't explain it. It's just
There's a
it's a magical. Yeah,
There's kindness.
There is.
Yeah, you know.
We're on, and it's just an interesting plane. It's things also. It's just on there.
I think the musicians kind of interact better with each other here too.
They do.
I think that in Phoenix, I found there's a lot more competition.
Got it.
A lot of that kind of clickiness and bands and stuff. Here, it's kind of everybody kind of shares, and you see a lot of several of the same band members in other bands, and it's kind of the ancestral sort of thing.
Very much. Yes, I can understand. Yeah, and that's, you know, it's for, you know, to add on to that. I think it's also, hang on to that word. I think it's also the fans too, of the side.
Yeah.
You know, I love that there's so much openness for music, and people will stop at a not so great bar or not so great restaurant, but they love the music, and that's all that matters. Yes, it's an escape, you know, and people understand that here, and something I think people have lost. Maybe in Phoenix, I'm not totally sure, but a lot of the times you're seeing music for the venue to make money, and the venue's charging you $25 at the door. You want to see this band? You got to pay. Where here, it's not allowed.
I think it's a difference in how you pay your bands too.
Sure.
Phoenix, you make more money.
Absolutely.
Yeah, for the most part, because you're charging more, and a lot of different, they do pay more, different type gigs. And I find it here, it's tough to pick a butt.
The tip jar things? The tip jars is
Well, yeah, I mean, at the Bottom Room, that's a big part of it. I mean, you have the different clubs and stuff, but I find that a lot of the other gigs, municipality gigs and festivals and things, you know, through the cities, Blues Fest, the Glendale Blues and Jazz Fest, were really well-paying gigs. Even some of the bar gigs. I mean, you have the opportunity to either make the door or they pay you a certain amount, which I find here in Tucson, it's really hard to make a decent amount of money at the bars. And that's what makes it great, because you have music 7 nights a week and people can afford to do it, because they're usually going into bars that they don't have to pay a cover.
Sometimes the tips, what's in the tip bucket is more than what the venue's fin.
It's very true. It is something that, you know, Tucson is catching up to, right? So we've allowed the music to be constant, and there's music, like you guys said, 7 days a week. Does stop. It's almost like New Orleans. It's always happening here, but it's tough, and it is important because not everybody is working outside of the music. This is their job, And I think we're getting to the point where it is essential for the musicians that have committed, this is what we do, or we play 5-6 nights a week, that they do get that break off. Without that competition, the Phoenix competition, I'm not into, right?
No, nor am I. That's why I'm here, and I love being here, and just the sharing of the music.
It's so necessary, right? And so if we can find a way to get the musicians paid, but not,
I think if anyone can do it, these two gals can absolutely start to Condra and Erica, Tucson local bands. They got the fire in them to make
it. Is absolutely true, and it's subtle. It's gonna have to happen in subtleties, but I mean, why can't it? Why can't we spread the love?
Right,
and our languages
listen,
together.
We love it because it's our passion.
Sure,
and I mean we spend more money at the bar than we make.
I know, Jesus Christ! At the golf course there, you got I go, Frank's like, I've just got a maker's mark for $8. I'm like, really? All right, I'm gonna go get one. So $8. I go, I'll take a double. She goes, that'll be $25. I'm like, wait a minute.
You only made $25.
I only made $20. But once the music starts, everything changes.
Yeah, it is. That's what it is.
It is. And I used to, before I had my hip replaced from my born defect, when I was in pain walking up to the stage, once I started singing, I had no pain. It's really weird. I mean, I noticed it. It was
that's crazy weird.
A lot of things change when you're playing music, and a lot of people would agree that changes when they're listening to the music.
Yeah.
It is. It's just very important, especially in the climate of the world right now. The money is very necessary for just living.
Yeah.
But what we're doing right now, it's a part of the movement, and there's steps to movements, and I'm a firm believer in that. And sometimes it takes some time, and I think we're getting there. And there's plenty of bands here in Tucson that do these things, but are a little bit more driven, not in a competition way, but just in a survival way of, I have to do this. I have to. I don't think many people want to play 6 days a week, playing the same set 6 days a week.
3 sets.
Playing the same song all day. I think I'm very lucky. I try to just do it once a month and keep it fresh. I'm not hauling my equipment around 3 times, 4 times, 5 times a week, and
You're young.
I don't know.
It's younger than we should.
Sure. But it's something that needs to be pushed. We're pushing ourselves, and there is a reason why. We want the healing, but we also want to keep this going for the people that need this. We're committed.
I know that when sometimes I want to feel sad, and so I want to get sadder by listening to sad music.
Absolutely.
And then there's, again, I bring up my husband, because we used to, when we would be broke and have no money, and we would turn on AC/DC, because their energy and their message was that you can do anything you want to do. You can figure this out. So we'd crank, and we didn't listen to them normally, but we'd have a problem. We'd be like, it's time to ACD correct. And boom. And our whole vibe would change. It's all right, let's go out and do this,
Our music, our vibration, the power of emotion that, everything we just said, it's important. And I love what you guys are doing. I love that Tucson music is at a pretty high, because I started doing Tucson music 2009 is when my first gig was, probably 2009.
How did you do 4?
I was 14 years old, and it was you want to talk about tough. Being 14 years old and finding a gig in this town. There's playing young musicians also.
What, could you play in bars?
No, not supposed to be.
Well, unless you were the Orange or something.
Well, those bars, there's a don't ask, don't tell. There's almost like a selling point, right? If you're going to a bar and you saw a kid being me, 14 years old, playing blues music,
right.
I'm going to sit for a little bit longer, and they knew that.
Yeah.
Did I make money? No, absolutely not. I couldn't be on their books. I'm 14 years old. I couldn't make any.
I remember the days when my mother would actually drop me off at the gig. I was 15, and I was playing with my first
little suitcase,
my little harmonica.
Sure.
Okay, mija, I'll see you later.
That's great though, because you probably would never give that experience.
My mother really allowed me to have that experience.
My parents encouraged me. Yeah, I love that. I love that it happened. I love the demographics that we have here. I love where we're going. But I agree with you guys that it's not where we want to be, but we're moving.
We can pave the way to
We're playing.
We're moving. You know, you're paving and moving, and that's, you know,
paving and moving.
That's what's is there a goal for Cochise County?
One thing I crave as a singer is like, and I don't know how it sounds out front. People say it sounds good. Because with the sound people, I just crave good sound because if I hear myself good, I sing so much better. We all know that as musicians.
Yeah.
And so my goal is I want to do some recording because we have no real documentation of what we've been doing for the past year.
Sure.
And I think we're really good. And I think a recording could be, not to necessarily sell CDs, but hey, I don't know. I mean, like a promotional purpose. And for documenting who we are, you know.
Well, you should want to sell Cochise, right? It should be something not to, right? If anything, to sell Cochise County.
Yeah, but I also, and this is kind of selfish, I want to hear myself sound as good as I know I can sound totally from the studio.
You're allowed to say.
Yeah, I like that. Because when I hear stuff on YouTube, I'm like, I can't watch it.
You're allowed to say that you like hearing yourself play. And that, honestly, that's pretty cool to say.
Well, when it sounds good. There's been occasions where it's been a monitor mix, and I'm like, it sounds so good. And I hear myself, and I'm really happy, and it just makes me better.
Sure.
You know? So
what would you say the goal for you and Cochise County All Stars would be?
I'd say just to continue playing good music. Sure. Learning more songs, and expanding our repertoire.
yeah.
Doing more of the festivals.
Yeah.
More of the festivals, those type of gigs where, you know, you, and maybe we branch out of Tucson where we can do some of the, maybe some stuff in New Mexico. There's festivals in Northern Arizona. There's stuff in, you know, there's other stuff to do. We have a lot of music to share. And
Yeah.
that's what I'd like to do.
A lot of music. Oh, God.
Yeah.
I felt good leaving the show when I saw you guys. Sometimes I have feel that way. A lot of times I feel like I had a good time, but I felt a little bit different.
Because you met Price.
Yeah. I had a little bit extra at the end. I did get to meet Frank.
Oh, it was nice to see you and Kendra down there and supporting us. And, you know, again, thanks to Tucson local bands.
Yeah.
Really, you know, supporting the bands and trying to make this thing happen. If it wasn't for them, we wouldn't have met you. We wouldn't be here. And this whole ball wouldn't be rolling. And it's just a fabulous project.
100%. Yeah. If I had no idea who you guys are, how do I find you guys? Where am I from? Let's see.
Currently with this incredible tutor I have. Her name is Kendra, and she is my web tutor, and she's teaching me how to and working with me, and I'm creating a website.
Cool.
For Cochise County All Stars, .com.
Gotcha.
And
Say it one more time.
Cochise County All Stars.com under construction.
Gotcha.
And but it'll be used as a business card. So because in the past when we had like a maybe more high profile gig been offered, Louie and I tend to just scramble on putting things together to send them. So now this is going to be great. Everything's going to be in one place. It's going to have a nice look. Thank you, darling. And I'm really excited about it. It's very challenging technically for me, but I'm doing a good job. I'm learning it. So it'll get done with Condra's assistance and support and everyone.
And then also Tucson local bands.
Yes.
What's up there on their schedule?
On their calendar, because now I know how to do that.
Okay. Make sure to check out Tucson local bands. Make sure to check out these guys. Make sure you tip the band. 1s, 5s, 10s, 20s.
20s are good.
Tip jar doesn't discriminate. Thanks, guys.
Thank you, Derek.
He does our sound check. Thanks so much, guys.
I did a lot of talking. Did you get fired up? Should I Derek doing with this? That was great. Okay, let's see if we're fine.